Collective, listen. This is for the ones who keep saying, I just need clarity. No, baby, you don't. You don't need clarity. You need acceptance. Because Spirit has already sent the signs, showed you red flags, and gave you that good feeling that made your stomach drop. And you said, hmm, maybe I'm overthinking. Sweetheart, you're not overthinking. You're overriding your intuition. And that's what got you here. Welcome back to the Velvet Arcana, where the energy is sacred, the messages are real, and spirit will absolutely sit you down and say, let's talk about your choices. Go ahead, like, share, and subscribe because this reading isn't just for you. It's for the version of you that keeps pretending not to know better. So let's enter the house of the night because I want you to think of this reading like walking through a house. Each room holds a truth. Some are cozy, some you've been avoiding opening, but tonight we're going to open all of them. So, with that being said, let's get into it. In room one, we have the High Priestess of Fire. Okay? And we have the High Priestess of Earth. Okay? So, what that's saying to me off rip is that this is power meeting responsibility. This is like desire meeting discipline, vision meeting, okay, but are you actually doing anything about it? You're sitting on something big, an idea, a passion, a calling, something that lights you up from the inside like a secret you can't keep forever. But here's the disconnect confirmation. You feel it deeply, but you hesitate to ground it into reality. So no, so now you're in this loop of I want it, I imagine it, I talk about it, but you don't fully move on it. Okay, and we're gonna come back and clarify what it necessarily is that might be the blockage. Okay, because I feel like when I go back and pull the card, because we're not gonna just rush past this, because whatever comes out, that's your starting point. Not next week, not when you feel ready, but now. But in room two, you have reminder, and you have fragment. Okay, and so spirit is saying to me like this room feels familiar, too familiar. This is where I feel like spirit says you keep coming back here. A person, a pattern, or a version of yourself that feels like home, even though it hurts. This is emotional deja vu. You're not here because it's aligned. You're here because it's unfinished. And be honest, is it love or is it attachment disguised as love? But then we move on to room three. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. My cat was so tripping just then. But the next card we have is Groove. And so what this tells me is that you're out of alignment. Something in your life feels forced, like you have to think too much about it. Real alignment doesn't feel like that. It feels like ease and flow. It's like this just makes sense type energy. And I feel like if it feels heavy, then that's your clue. But then here's the part right here. Here's gift, right? Spirit said you're grieving something that was actually protecting you. That thing didn't work out for a reason. Not because you weren't good enough, but because it wasn't meant to go where you're going. And then we have directions. You're being redirected, but you keep trying to go backwards. And spirit is like forward. And you're like, but what if I just check real quick? And spirit's like, no, no, like we're done, like no more. And you have to understand, you guys, when you avoid change, God will make it to where something so serious happens that you have no choice but to change. Okay? So stop fighting the path because change is inevitable. But then the last one we have for that pool is spontaneity, right? And to me, spontaneity to me feels like you're overthinking. You see how in this picture there's a girl standing right here on the edge, and this one, the giant, has already jumped off. To me, this is giving fool energy, and so I believe in going into the unknown, right? But what you don't want to do is walk into the unknown and leap without looking first. That means use your discernment before you jump into anything. It's okay to jump. Just make sure that you're jumping into anything. Make sure it's for you. Make sure you can see the bottom at least. And if you can't see the bottom, you have to trust that spirit is going to guide you on your feet to the bottom as well. And so I feel like you're overthinking and it's bad. It's like Olympic level overthinking. Like, meanwhile, your next step is literally waiting for you to just move. You feel what I'm saying, y'all? And what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to just sit on it. I want you to do something with it. Okay? And I'm going to take you over here to the spirit animals because now the truth got an attitude. Okay? And the first card we have is Coyote. Something is not what it seems. Either someone is being deceptive or you're choosing not to see clearly. And you have to be real with yourself before you can be real about anything else. But let's with Boar, with Boar, your boundaries need work. Let's just say because right now it's giving I'll allow it, but I'm mad about it. And your peace is worth more than temporary comfort. Like let's get into it. But here's Cat. Here's Cat. And when I think about cats, I think about independence and ancient. As far as ancient wise, I think about like psychic powers. I think about them being like that in between. You feel me? And this is your power. Your intuition is strong. You don't need the validation. You just need to trust yourself. And then the last card is salmon. And although it's some good fish to go down your esophagus, baby, this is your path, and it's not easy. Salmon swim upstream. They fight the currents. And although your path may not be easy, it's real and you know it. And growth isn't always pretty, but it's necessary, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into these. We're gonna go into tarot, right, baby? And we're gonna figure out what it is that got you in this, honey. Cause I just want to know. So what I want to know is what's the collective being called to take real action on right now? That card fell on the floor, but the Six of Swords came out. I just didn't know if it came out upright or in reverse, so I put it back. I'm gonna shuffle again. What is collective being called to take real action on right now? right? And we have the Seven of Pentacles. So, with the Seven of Pentacles, I feel like this is not loud energy. It's not dramatic. It's not instant gratification. I feel like the collective is being called to work on patience without self sabotage. I mean, you've already put in effort. You've already started the healing. You've made better choices or making better choices. And you shifted your mindset, even if it was just a little bit. But now you're in that awkward phase where results are not fully visible yet. And you're tempted to go, is this even working? And Spirit is like, yes, it's working. You just don't trust the process yet. And I feel like another thing that's being that you're being called to work on is to stop forcing outcomes. This card is a big stop rushing because some of y'all are like, I did the work for 3 days. Where are my blessings? Like, be real. Growth doesn't move on your timeline. It moves on alignment and consistency. And I feel like you're also being called to evaluate before you invest more energy. The Seven of Pentacles is also about reflection. So not everything you've been pouring into is worth continuing. Some things need more patience and others just need to be cut off. Okay? And I just want to, clarify that. So then the next question is going to be, what is the collective still holding on to that is keeping them stuck? What is the collective holding on to that's keeping them stuck? Oh, three cards came out. I'm gonna take them all because they all came out. Four cups. Okay. Okay. First we have the four cups. We have the tower. We have the seven of cups reverse. And we have the three of swords. Hmm. This isn't just one thing. This is like a pattern wrapped in emotion. And I feel like with one being you have unfinished emotional attachments. It's not necessarily love, but just like lack of closure. And you're holding on to conversations that never happened, apologies you've never received, the what it could have been, and it's that what if energy, and it's keeping you energetically tied to the past. But the truth is, you're not stuck on the person, you're stuck on the potential. And it's giving familiar pain, and this one hits because some of you are holding on to something because it's what you're used to. Even if it hurts, even if it drains you, it's predictable, and your nervous system is like, at least we know this pain. I also feel like this is avoidance of self focus. Like, let's be real for a second. Holding on to something external sometimes feels easier than fully facing yourself. Because once you let go, now it's just you. Your growth, your healing, your accountability. And some of y'all are like, yeah, let me just text them instead. And I feel like you're holding on to something that feels familiar or unfinished. And it feels like it meant something important. But Spirit is saying it already served its purpose. You're the one extending its stay. You might as well be extended, say, American Hotel. Let's keep it above. You deserve so much more. You just have to come out of that mindset. And it takes time. It's not easy, especially, especially when you love someone. Okay. Okay. Trust me. I get it. Let's move on to the next question. So, next question being, where in their collective lives are they forcing something instead of allowing it to flow? Where in their life are they forcing something instead of letting it flow? Oh, okay. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is about passion, it's about creativity. Now, this is interesting because the Ace of Wands is not a blocked energy. It's pure fire, raw, like a raw spark. It's a divine go. So if you're asking where am I forcing instead of flowing, and you pull this, Spirit is basically saying you're not forcing the wrong thing, you're forcing the timing, the control, or the outcome of the right thing. Now let's get into it. The Ace of Wands, this is new beginnings, this is passion, this is creativity. Shit, it's even a little sexual energy. It's inspiration that I need to do this feeling. So the energy itself is correct, aligned, and meant for you, but the way you're handling it, a little aggressive. Where you're forcing it is you might be rushing the spark. You got excited, you felt the idea, you felt the connection, you felt the pull, and instead of letting it unfold naturally, you try to accelerate it. Like, this feels right. Let me make it happen right now. And Spirit says not everything that's meant for you needs to be rushed into existence, right? But I feel like you may be turning inspiration into pressure. What started as excitement, curiosity, and desire has turned into pressure, expectation, and this has to work. And now you're not flowing anymore. You're performing. And just to throw in a little something, something, because I'm reading this from another angle as well. Like, let's be real, Ace of Wands can absolutely point to intense attraction, sexual chemistry, or fast-moving connections. And you may be trying to define it too quickly, maybe lock it in, or control how it develops when it's meant to be experienced first and understood later. So you're not trusting the natural momentum. The Ace of Wands doesn't need force. It's already lit. Baby, it's already lit. It's already alive. But you don't trust that it will grow on its own, so you keep interfering. But I feel like you're trying instead of doing. That's what I feel. I feel like you're trying instead of doing. And like, let's be real. We all know that's not gonna serve you any. It's not gonna serve you any. But I want to go in a little deeper, and I want to ask, what are you afraid of if you let this go? What are you afraid will happen if you let this go? What is the collective afraid will happen if you let this go? The Nine of Pentacles. My bad, I forgot to show you guys the Ace of Wands. Okay, and then we have the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is about comfort. It's about security and abundance. Hmm. So let's get into it. I feel like with the Nine of Pentacles, with the question being asked, what is the collective afraid will happen if they let go? And we got the Nine of Pentacles. Now we're getting deep and juicy, baby. Okay. The Nine of Pentacles is all about independence, abundance, and self sufficiency. So if you're asking, what am I afraid of? I mean, what am I afraid will happen if I let go? I feel like this is spirit basically whispering, I'm afraid I'll lose my security, my comfort, my sense of control. Let's break it down. The card embodies self reliance, financial or emotional independence, confidence, and dignity. But here's the twist: when you're holding on, you're afraid that letting go means you'll lose what you've built. Whether it's emotional, financial, or spirit confirmation, what if it's emotional, financial, or spiritual confirmation? The Nine of Pentacles shows you've cultivated something carefully. You've earned your space, your calm, your independence. And letting go of a situation or a person feels like you might lose their hard earned stability. I also feel like there's a fear of being alone or a fear of starting over. And not alone in a lonely sense, but alone in your power. Sometimes holding on is a way of avoiding stepping fully into your personal sovereignty. Your independence is like you're in that in between, and you feel like, and you're holding on is a way of avoiding stepping fully into your self trust. Even if even if what you're holding on to is limiting, leaving it requires trusting yourself fully. But starting over, you've worked too hard to reach where you are, and letting go means recalculating. Letting go means creating new routines, new spaces, new emotional habits, and your brain is like, "Do I do all that again?" And the Nine of Pentacles isn't a warning; it's a reminder that letting go doesn't erase your accomplishments. It doesn't strip your independence. It doesn't mean you'll start from zero. It actually means the invitation to fully step into your power without distractions. I feel like it gives you the momentum to trust that your garden will continue to flourish even without what no longer serves you. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? But I'm not going to keep y'all too long. I do just want to say that growth isn't always pretty, but it's necessary. And with that, I just want to close out and say you're not confused. You're just holding on, and you're revisiting something that you've outgrown, and you're ignoring your intuition, maybe even overthinking your next move, possibly resisting change. And spirit is asking you to take action on your passions, to release what's unfinished, accept the redirection, and trust yourself fully. But most importantly, stop choosing what feels familiar over what is actually right for you. Now, if this reading hits you, don't just sit there like, wow, that's crazy, and then go back to the same situation like nothing happened. Be serious this time. Like, comment, I'm letting it go for real. I want y'all to comment, I'm letting it go for real. I want you to share this with someone who needs a wake up call. And I want you to also subscribe to the Velvet Arcana for more readings that read a little too well. But remember, you can't change anyone but yourself. But once you do, everything that isn't aligned won't be able to stay. I'll see you in the next reading.